However, I suppose you're all wondering why I invited you here. I was going to do some British blade calls. They're like the Iranian blades. Only just after the Migratory Bird Act, when Henry Clay shoved in his Missouri Compromise, all the birds was flocking. They don't do it no more. However, tonight, I should like very much, but I can't get much. However, I find it most gratifying to be surrounded by such lovely surroundings with such resounding and so many of them. If it were possible tonight, I would like to have all the lovely young ladies on the platform. And who wouldn't? Well, since it's not possible, I shall proceed with just the gist of my report. Now, the government, they need it. This evening, the conclave has met to discuss the pecuniary affairs, based on the supposition that the campaign cannot go full force and speed, provided, of course, the necessary funds are forthcoming, and without the prerequisites prevailing upon those who might feel that the security of the boundaries which failed in the past eons have given us discernment upon which our basic function is to realize that without the development of these sources, it is no longer possible, even with the courage and the desire, to will, because these are the objectives of our campaign. I'm only repeating what Nixon said. Comrade, friends, you know, for a moment I forgot what zone I was in. But only recently I was speaking to acting President Eisenhower. You know, speaking of presidents, Roosevelt proved you could be president for life. Truman proved that anybody can become president. Eisenhower proved we don't need a president. Now these are the basic things in which we have been fraught with danger. Where the hell are you going? We didn't even take a vote. We have with us tonight Dr. Shipley, Dr. Schmidt, and his friend Chicken Schmidt, representing fine foods, which has been contaminated by the government. Please, no hustling. And recently, as it was prone and once said, that the statistical creation proves that through environment the basic industry of our government will show at the end of the fiscal year a population of 187 million people. Now we already have 180 million people. We need 7 million more. Now it's up to you. And if by the end of the year we reach our quota, you can truthfully say that you had a hand in it. Wait a minute. And it's so true. Childbearing is hereditary. You cannot have children unless your parents had children. So you got nothing to worry about. You can do what you want and there'll be no consequences. Oh, come, you can uncross your legs. You're safe here. On second thought, I'm not so sure. Will the walking delegate please sit down? Now we're gathered together in this conclave. Now we're here to determine the issues of our party platform, which involve not only those who are seeking the high positions in our own government, which this is an integral part of, made sure that on the basis of our findings and the understanding based on discernment, using this as a prolific device, no longer used in the various areas or in the erogenous, in the various areas. What the hell are you doing?
That's the preamble to the platform.
Who is this uncircumcised? Our government is based on this assumption. And we have used primarily these unknown forces which seek far beyond in the darkness, cloaked with the shield of an unfortunate unspeakable light. Yes, we understand the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, wicked people destroyed by a tremendous conflagration, belching forth fire, hell, and brimstone from the heavens. Wicked people stooped in debauchery, degeneracy, and perversion. All these things that happen in those days. And 600,000 souls snuffed out, lost their mortal beings, save for 4 good people: Lot, his wife, and his 2 daughters. And Lot's wife looked around, and there were no men left in the vicinity, save for her husband, who at that time was 138 years old. So in lieu of memories, Lot's wife turned around and gave one long last look at her long-lost lovers, and she turned into a pillar of salt. Therefore, the marvel of that story is, all girls that cheat taste salty. 50. However, say, can't you laugh when they all do? Or better still, can't you all laugh when he does? Cover up. I said, cover up. Are you trying to hypnotize me? What beautiful legs. Do they go all the way up? You three wise men. Did you bring me presents? Yes, we must remember truly, based on this assumption that we can no longer go without this understanding. It was in the War of 1898 when we fought in Cuba and chased out the Spanish imperialists and freed the Cuban peons from bondage. And we won that war. And what did we get? The Philippines. We didn't even know we was fighting for that. It was after the Treaty of Ulm, when Paraguay fought Bolivia, and Bolivia lost. They had to take the Pyrenees. Didn't know how to bring it over here. This, however, did make Spain and France livid. Of course, they need the Pyrenees. In case of revolution, where are their guerrillas going to hide? Therefore, they needed them. And we're going to have another war. Thursday. But I say, let's get the terms of the treaty first, so we know what the hell we're fighting for. Goodness knows we don't want them Philippine Islands back. Oh, we could have owned Canada. But it would put our government in a higher bracket. Yes, it was 54-40 or fight. And rather than prevent the Holocaust, which would have ended catastrophically, we gave Canada Vancouver. But we kept Washington with the Columbia River, so that the salmon can go up the river and spawn in Canada. We don't allow that in our country. Laugh, laugh, laugh. The building's been condemned. Oh, I have been asked to answer some very interesting questions. A young man asked me if I could recommend any books on sex education for children. Yes. There's the sex urge from 6 to 10. Then there's the sex urge from 10 to midnight. The same idiot asks another question. Do you think there should be sex before the wedding? No. Not if it delays the ceremony. Now that'll be on Wednesday. I was going to give a political talk on sex. Well, politics does make strange bedfellows. But sex is wonderful. It's worth 10 points if you play Scrabble. Well, S is 1, E is 1, and X is 8. And if you get it in a triple box, it could be very devastating to your partner. Now we have a very few hours left. and our campaign is not going as anticipated. Now, we tried to stop Symington, and we forgot all about Kennedy. Johnson we always had. Now we have a lot of questions. Those of you who have any questions, I have wonderful answers already prepared for you. Now we throw the campaign floor open for discussion. After discussion, we're going to have a riot. But we have to have a discussion first. Are there any questions? You know everything. Yes? You have a question?
What is a redhead?
A redhead is a toilet on a Russian ship. Look at him questioning. I'm surprised. We have another question from a man, I hope.
Johnson.
What?
How come you advocated for Lyndon Johnson?
Here is a man, one of my constituencies from the South Side, Cicero, asked me how I abdicated with Lyndon Johnson.
With two.
You're using the word with as a preposition or one as a subjunctive instead of a superlative? Or are you using it as a suppositive? I gotta know how you use it, otherwise I don't know what the hell you're talking about. That man disturbing the entire congregation. Are there any other stupid questions? Yes? I have a question from a man's rear, from a man in the rear. Yes? The answer is no.
Sir,
Yes?
what's the difference between the blonde and the Suez Canal?
Well, Suez Canal locks up at night. Sit over there with him. Any other question? Yes? You have no questions?
How do you propose reducing the national debt?
I don't propose to reduce the national debt. I propose to tax the poor. Now you laugh and say, well, what the hell is that guy talking about? Let us look at the proverbial expression. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But the rich cannot get richer unless the poor get poorer. So we figure as a government we'll take it away from the poor first before the rich get it, right? That'll be one way to solve the economic situation if that problem should ever arise. However, I should like to discuss the Piltdown man and the built-up woman. 698 million years ago on June 6th. June 8th. April 8th. At about 4:30 in the afternoon, precisely, when everybody knocks off work, they knocked up. But what's happened? Saturn only had 2 moons. Mercury and Jupiter had nothing. And everything that fell off the sun, Rockefeller inherited, which later became known as the 8. Well, Rockefeller was an ordinary person. Like you and I. Like you. He gave his children blocks to play with. 51st Street, 53rd Street. Bobo there was no more blocks. So people started moving uptown. Now the Elbe, known as the Euphrates, was in Mesopotamia, known as Madagascar, later Phoenicia, and then Persia, which we sunk, and Euclid. Euclid. Morris Euclid. He was out of work and he was on relief. And he was being investigated by the EBI, the Egyptian Bureau of Investigation. But Euclid took a stroll and he tripped over an isosceles triangle. Thinking nothing of it, he called the police. In them days, it was known as a gendarme, or Jeanne d'Arc, which means there's no light in the men's room. Now Euclid discovered that at the bottom of this isosceles triangle, the bottom angles was equal, plus the vertex angle combining the other two was almost 180 degrees, and then the Nile started to overflow, and it got all its water from the tributaries, from the juveniles. And what did we do? We put a circle around the triangle, and it became the Civilian Defense Corps emblem. That's how we lost the war. However, might I digress for one moment and make a parenthetical remark? You'll notice the italics are my own. It was pointed out by an even greater authority than myself. It was Ibid. In his famous... Actually, there ain't no such person as Ibid. That's a derivation from Ibidum, which means the same reference as the previous source. And it's impossible to speak in italics. Another humorous remark that went completely unobserved. I said, might I digress? You can only digress from a main theme. And the juxtaposition of the previous thoughts not only had no relationship to each other, but had no relationship to itself. I was digressing from digression. And another thing, I said that Euclid tripped over the triangle and thinking nothing of it, he called the police. You only call the police in case of an emergency. And by his own admission, he said he thought nothing of it. What the hell did he call the police for? Well, why didn't you laugh when you first heard it? Everything that I said was calculated to provoke merriment. Did you think that I came up on this platform unprepared to such a hostile group? I knew exactly what I was going to say. In fact, I opened my Bible remarks with a conjunction, which presupposes that I already said something. This in itself was calculated to tickle the residuabilities and release you from your frustration. What is a conjunction? It's a term used to copulate, to couple with a common predicate. I even remember I said Euclid, and I even repeated his name. Because looking at your physiognomy, I thought maybe at once you didn't hide. And still the same blank expression. So I thought I'd talk about one of your contemporaries, Morris Euclid. You never heard of him either, did you? Do you know what I'm talking about? Well, sit over there with them. What did you people expect? Venereal material? We want to carry this on a high cultural level. You remember I said at the bottom of the isosceles triangle, the bottom angles was equal, plus the vertex angle combined in the other two? There's only 3 angles in a triangle. Are you insecure? Well, then stop picking your nose when I'm talking. Smoking during the seminar. You're under arrest. Close the door, don't let me out. Kim! Kim! That's Yiddish for come. Come, Kim. Who's your pusher? You know what Shakespeare said about virginity? Away with it! It was when Thisbe went out with Hymia in the second act of The Tempest. I could tell him, hey, he don't know nothing. You know, this part of my audience seems to be on film. You know, if Dodie Goodman married Truman Capote, her name would be Dodie Capote. Did you come here on a bet? Take a puff, we'll fly together. I'll get there ahead of you. Did you see that motion picture, The Man with the Golden Arm? There's where the hero gets the heroin right in the beginning. Do you all come from the same mental block? Yes, it was Tom Jefferson who said, "Don't put off till tomorrow what you can do today. If you enjoy it today, you can do it again tomorrow." Wonder what he meant. Actually, it was Magellan, who was the first man to circumcise the earth. Yes, he did it in a 12-foot clipper. He cut off the Cape of Good Hope and went right up the isthmus. He had to do that. You know, apropos of absolutely nothing. But save for that particular thought which passes my mind and leads me to believe that some free association in certain areas not only has proved lucrative to those involved in this nefarious work, but have helped them not only to make... You see, now you're quiet, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But it was Claire Loose Booth. Booth Loose. Booth Loose. This loose woman. She was finally converted to Catholicism by Bishop Sheen. Then she became the ambassador to Italy. And because of her high office, she had a 45-minute audience with the Pope. And she talked and talked and talked and talked and talked. She finally took a breath and the Pope said, "But I am Catholic." Did you ever play Jewish chess? You use rabbis instead of bishops. So you could check your mate, nobody sees now. You know, I just invented a serum that does away with girdles and garter belts. No more girdles, no more garter belts. It's a little serum, you drink it at night, and when you get up in the morning, there's a wart right on the thigh, and you hook the stocking right on the wart. Don't you try it, you'll get a collar button. You see, many people thought that Bacon wrote Shakespeare. Actually, Shakespeare ate bacon. Oh, it was allowed in them days. You see, all the bacon and all the ham and all the pork was kosher. They circumcised the pig. There was very little waste. Oh, well, they use that as pork butt. Yes, it was Pericles who introduced into the Athenian culture, long before the Romans, the togas. And Pericles had the largest togas in all of Athens. There was even fact in the rumor that Penelope kissed Pericles' togas, merely as a sign of affection rather than admiration. And many people thought that Goliath had the biggest togas. Actually, his togas came up to here. His mother had a Tom Jefferson, who opened the House of Burgesses, and he closed all the other houses. For the simple reason nobody was voting. The only reason that I use the word togas is because it has so much of the phonetic expression that the Yiddish employ when they say tokas. What we're going to do tonight, we're going to have a box lunch social. Now it's going to be behind the high school. So everybody bring your own lunch. Prizes will be given for neatness and originality. That lets you out. Oh, darling, darling, darling. Oh, would that I were he, and he me. I'd be with ye. And where would he be? With them tree over there. To you I will my mind unfold, emptying our bosoms. It's merely an expression. It means to get it off your chest. Say, did you know that air raid spelled backwards is diarrhea? However, we do want to thank you for being here. We want to thank those of you who made it here tonight. We want to thank those that are making it someplace else. And we feel sorry for those that ain't making it here or there. And he made you in his image?